The holiday season is just around the corner. If you listen out, you can hear the sleigh bells, even though you live in New Zealand and we don't have sleighs. That's how powerful the music of this season is. And of course, for King and Country, they've made an incredible reputation for themselves, creating concert experiences that absolutely transcend the season. And so we are very excited to have Luke join us this morning. Good morning.
Hey, good morning to you all. I may have made this joke the last time that we spoke, but you need to have less coffee.
You reckon?
It's just,
yes.
it's unbelievable, the energy you bring. I love it, man. Props.
Oh, well, Luke, we are stoked to be speaking to you today. You are one half of the For King and Country team. And look, I have to be honest, my husband and I and the kids had the pleasure of meeting you both at the Unsung Hero premiere in Auckland. And I know that you guys have a really unique way of drawing people in and making people feel like they really know you. In fact, so much so that my husband was convinced that you guys are like new best friends. And he was like, oh, I'm going to take Luke fishing. It's going to be amazing. He's going to see the outdoors. And he actually wanted me to ask you a question in this interview. So I'm going to do that. He wants to know.
I like it.
He wants to know what your favourite place in New Zealand is.
Well, oh man, you know, it's crazy that you say this because we stayed, and you probably know the answer because I think we chatted about this, but we stayed at a little town outside of Auckland, about 45 minutes, but I've forgotten the name of the city, but I loved it. It's got the big rock there. You're just gonna make me just like,
yeah, that'll be,
you're just gonna make me, what'd you say?
Was it Piha? West?
Yes.
Wild West?
yeah, there
Yes.
you go. There you go.
It was unbelievable. And so literally, Courtney and she just found this Airbnb. And we came in a little early because we brought the whole family. And I will say this, if you're going to travel that far, it is a very good idea to come a little bit early so you can kind of just adapt a little bit. But we got to make the best memories possible. It was unbelievable. And so, yeah, that was probably my favorite place in New Zealand. Of all the places that we went on the tour, we just utterly enjoyed it. And I remember talking to your husband, so please tell him I said hello. And next time we're there, I will go fishing with your husband.
This is very exciting. Okay,
All
well, this
right.
is like Christmas. Yeah. This is Christmas for us as a family. But let's talk about your amazing Drummer Boy Christmas Live. Like, this is an extravaganza. You guys just bring the full deal when you perform. And I know that this was recorded in front of a crowd of 12,000 or more people in Houston. So let's talk about how this came to be. Like, how did you guys have the idea of like recording this particular show and then bringing it to a basically a theatrical movie cinema experience?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we've always loved, we love doing the shebang of touring and tours, but our favorite tour is usually the Christmas tour. But the problem that we've always had with the Christmas tour, is it's very difficult to, obviously, for it to travel internationally. It's very difficult for it even to travel too far across America because this Christmas season only lasts 3-4 weeks. So if we ever toured it, it would be on the East Coast. And then the West Coast would be really mad at us. And then if we toured the West Coast and the East Coast was really mad. And so we kind of kept thinking to ourselves, is there a way to be able to give people the Christmas tour, the Christmas show, in a way that we've never done it before, all at the same time? And so last year, we filmed our Drummer Boy Christmas live concert in Houston, Texas, in front of 12,000 people. We brought our Unsung Hero film crew in, and we did some things technologically that we have never, ever done before. And just trying to give people the Christmas spirit, you know, like the Christmas season, we're talking about the greatest story ever told in the history of the world. And so we thought, what if we could figure out a way to kind of bring that joy, that moment to everyone all over, and at this case, all over the world. And so we're pleased to be able to bring it to you guys on December 13th, 14th, and 15th. Drummer Boy Live is going to be in theaters. So we're looking forward to celebrate Christmas with you.
Yeah, so a reminder for people too, by the way, if you head to faithmedia.com.au/drummerboy, you can sign up and get the details of where these locations are going to be and so on. But look, coming back to the experience that people are going to have in cinema while they watch this, you mentioned there's a few things in here that you guys have done that you haven't done before, or that's going to be an unprecedented experience. Can you give us a little bit of an insight as to what people are going to see and experience with this show?
Yeah, well, we've filmed our shows, you know, a bunch of times over the course of For King and Country. But one of the things I said to Joel when we were like, hey, you know, he was like, I think that we should film it this year. And I said, absolutely, we should. But I said, we can't just film it like we've filmed it every other time. Like, this has to be another level. Because otherwise, if we're going to try and put this into theaters, you just can't do it. It's got to be excellent. And so one of the things that we do realize, even in the theme, even in a room or a concert, depending on where you sit, is dependent on the angle that you're looking at the show, the quality of the sound. And so we thought to ourselves, what are some of the things that we can do to give people an experience as if you're on the front row of this tour? And so there's things like techno cranes. They do all these crazy things. They can come from way out. They can do all. I mean, it's just stuff that I can nerd out about. And you guys are going to be like, we should end the interview really quickly. So I'm not going to do that.
I want to
But
ask,
but all sorts of those types of things.
any flying on reindeers or any sort of walking on chair tops or crowd surfing?
Oh, I mean, Jesus didn't fly on a reindeer, so we don't do that stuff, you know?
But I don't know if you filmed any of his performances either, though. So, you're innovating in your own way.
But yeah, I guess we're breaking some rules here, aren't we?
Yeah. Look, one of the things, though, that I know, too, from your performances is that you've talked about the experience from an entertainment point of view. But I know, too, how important it is for you to communicate the real meaning of Christmas, the significance of it beyond just the spectacle, too. So tell us about that. What is something that's at the heart of this Christmas experience that people can maybe bring along a non-Christian friend or just somebody who's curious about this sort of thing but doesn't have a faith yet? What are they going to experience?
Well, look, I think that if you're going to be a Christian, you're going to walk with Jesus, you hinge your life on that, right? And one of the things that it talks about in the Bible is like, well, then make what you do for a living, make it excellent. Make it absolutely fantastic. And so I've said this for years. It's like, man, I want to be the greatest entertainer ever. Not for entertainment's sake, but so that people will listen. I get the privilege of, especially at Christmas time, talking about the greatest story ever in the history of the world. It's a mind bender. But I think there's a lot of people out there that go, but is it true? And when you do something excellently, it's evidence of what is actually true. And so my hope is that, you come to, look, this is just one thing, right? But I think for all of us, we should all be lifting each other up to be absolutely terrific, because when you're excellent and joyful in what you do, people go, why is that person different? And at the end of the day, sometimes you can give someone an actual example of, I know this is real because of X, Y, Z. Here's the history, here's the whatever. And people still doubt. But sometimes when you make people feel different and they go, there's something, this person has had a different walk of life than me. They may have had a harder life than me, but yet somehow they walk around with a greater joy, a greater courage, a greater bravery, a greater hope. That sometimes is more evidence of the realness of Jesus than actually just reading scripture or just reading history. And so our hope is that people come and they go, I don't think I can I don't know if I can doubt that. That feels real to them. There's got to be something more to the story.
And there's something to be said for people operating fully in their gifts and talents. And I know that you and your brother do that. You bring all your gifts and talents that God has given you, and people see that and they get excited about it. And I know that it's amazing to be a part of. But also, I know that you guys are taking a little bit of a break from the live touring to focus on what's next. So what's next in store for you guys in the pipeline?
Yeah, look, we got through doing this film, Unsung Hero, and then obviously being back in New Zealand and Australia with you guys. And then we came back and did some other events here. And then we're doing this tour now. I've got a little Christmas tour. And we got to a point where it was like, maybe my hair is showing this example. We're exhausted. We're tired. But more so than anything, we're not going to take a year off and not do anything, because I actually don't think that's how you refresh. But taking a very intentional time to create. We've never been able to actually really make an album or two just being home. It's always been kind of on the go. It's always been in the middle of things. And so we want to dedicate a significant amount of time to new music. We've got some new movie ideas in the works as well. And I just think to take an intentional time to be home, live my life with Courtney and my wife and the kids, and to be able to make some memories, because you got to remember, you have to live a little bit of life to actually write things about. If you don't live a little bit of life, your songs become regurgitated. They just there's not fresh. But it's in the observation of life that I think a lot of new ideas, a lot of fresh ideas come from. And so for us to take kind of a moment of intentional, hey, we're going to slow it down a little bit, I think is necessary for the coming years of creativity.
And last question from me then too, because I think this connects with the wider Christmas story and the season that people experience around now as well. But what is it about the Christmas story as well that refreshes you? We celebrate Christmas every year. People might have been to 1,000 Christmas-related events, but there's something about it that can be new for you every time. And I think that's the way maybe God uses his word, right, to bring something new to us. So what is refreshing to you about that story as you reflect on it again this year?
I think that it's just so miraculous. I think when you start looking at the story, see, we've all, in some cases, if you've walked with Jesus for a while, this story has become so ingrained in you that you forget the mystery and the wonder of it. Like you start thinking through all of these things. And if you start actually reading scripture through the wonder of trying to read it for the first time, you sit there and you go, this is extraordinary stuff. And one of the things I love about when you read these stories, and obviously when you read the stories and the different accounts of the gospel, it's how you and I would respond. So when you've got like an angel coming to speak to Joseph and he's terrified out of his mind, you go, yeah, it's probably how I would respond, and you've got Mary kind of asking questions like, okay, so of all the people that you could pick, why me? That's how we would respond. And that to me just gives it extra potency of the miracle of Jesus, the wonder of it. And so my hope is the reason why I don't think it's Christmas every day is because sometimes you have to have a little bit of distance to when you come back to it every year that there's that wonder, there's that awe again. And so my hope is for anybody that comes and sees the Drummer Boy Christmas in theaters or just the Christmas season as a whole, that you remember that awe, that wonder. And then instead of just sitting there going, is it really real? What if you lean into it and say, yes? Well, how does that change the way you live? Because I guarantee you, if you do, it'll change the way you live.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking from experience of having had some children, the thought of giving birth in a stable, I mean, that's no easy feat, right? I mean, it's not enough in a hospital, let alone in a barn. So thank you so much for that reminder that we need to see things with fresh eyes. I think taking a look at the gospel and the Christmas story with fresh eyes is such an important thing. And what better way to do it than with a Drummer Boy Christmas Live? So we're so excited. It's in cinema 3 days only, December 13th, 14th and 15th. If you want to find out how you can be a part of this, you can go to faithmedia.com.au/Drummer Boy. But Luke Smallbone, thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Hey, always a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time. And like I said, just be careful not to drink too much coffee. I'm worried about you guys.
How much is too much, just so we know?
6 shots a day.
Oh, we're good. We're good. This is only 2.
Awesome. Thanks, bro.
You had good fun.
Amazing. I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn your notifications on so you don't miss the next video.
We'll see you in the next one.